Hello everybody, welcome to another Journal with Me video. Again, I'm going to be working with some of the Halloween Journal Challenge prompts in my junk journal. If you're unfamiliar with the Halloween Journal Challenge, I will leave links at the top of the description box. I won't go into explaining it now, so there'll be an information link and then a link to the playlist of videos. There's a new one every single day of the month. This is not one of the official videos. My official one has already been out. That was on the 13th of this month. This is just me playing around with the prompts and having fun in my journal. I have said it before, but I will say it again in case you are new. When I work with prompts like this, I do not do every single prompt. I just look at the list and pick a few that really speak to me in the moment. So if you're seeing that this is like week 2 of the prompts, please don't be disappointed that I'm not going to do every single prompt. I'm just letting you know. But I will tell you what all the prompts for week 2 are. We have Creatures of the Night, Ripped and Torn, Shipwrecked, Eerie Island, Abandoned Cottage, Poison Garden, and Vintage Halloween. I am going to be doing Ripped and Torn, Shipwrecked, and Vintage Halloween. I already did Poison Garden as part of my official video. Again, I will see if I can link that for you. And I'm kind of wishing that I did Creatures of the Night as well, but maybe I can go back and fit that in another time. But yes, so those are the 3 I'm going to be working with. The first one is going to be Ripped and Torn. This is actually a technique I did in a video a year, 2 year, I don't know how long ago. It was for a Junk Journal January or Junk Journal July challenge, and I loved the idea so much. I love the way it came out, so I wanted to do it again. So what I do is I take some pieces of Tim Holtz worn wallpaper. Obviously you don't have to use this, I just like the way it looks. This is part of the Halloween warm wallpaper, and I rip 4 strips. I've got to round them with Distress Oxide, either ground espresso or walnut stain, I'm not sure which one, and then I stick them down in a way that each one, apart from the end one, makes itself a little pocket. It's super simple, it does not take long at all, but I think it just looks great, frankly. And then I'm also ripping up 3 small pieces of coloured vellum and using those to add journaling or whatever and slip into each one of the pockets. I'm going to add some poetry on these. This is actually a very poetry heavy video actually when it comes to what I add to my pages, but I am adding an expert from Byron's Darkness onto this one. In case you're wondering, it's a very long poem, so I haven't fitted it all in. I'll probably add more parts of it elsewhere in my journal. I'm using a Pigma Micron pen to write on the vellum. It's the best thing I've found for writing on vellum because, you know, it can be a difficult medium to work on. And this coloured vellum, if you're in the UK or Ireland, it's from the range and from these little vellum packs that I did show on screen a second ago. So once I've got my writing all done, I slip those little vellum pieces back into the pockets. As you see, I kind of staggered the colours. And for some reason, even though they're from like the same brand, possibly even the same pack, the pen did struggle to write on that sort of lighter browny colour. I don't know why, probably something to do with the dye or whatever they use. I don't know, but you know, it's fine. Or maybe my pen's running out, who knows. I wanted to add just a teensy weensy bit of decoration to this. It didn't need much. These things I'm pulling out here, these strips, are also from Tim Holtz. I don't know, they might be from the Worn Wallpaper pack originally actually, or they're from one of the Halloween ephemera packs. I can't remember, but I'm kind of just using it as just a little, firstly, putting it down there stops everything from dropping down, those little vellum pieces, so kind of keeps them in place, but just looks nice as a little bit extra. I'm writing the name and author of the poem on that little piece there. Again, that was Tim Holtz ephemera, and then just a few little bat stickers up the edge here, and I think that's pretty much everything I'm going to do to this page. Oh, I did grab a white gel pen and do a little dash border around this. If anyone has recommendations for white gel pens, I've always recommended the white Uniball Signo pens, but they're starting to disappoint me. Maybe they just don't last well, maybe they're good when you first open them, but then I don't know. But white gel pen recommendations, always welcome. Next up, I wanted to work with the Shipwrecked prompt. I have a lot of nautical theme supplies. I just got out my nautical box here to choose some things. Nautical box sounds wrong, and I don't know why it sounds wrong, but it does. Anyway, my supplies of nautical and sea themed papers and equipment and whatever. Yeah, I used to live in a seaside town. I grew up in a seaside town, so I have a lot of this stuff lying around, but I was trying to find things that were more sort of rusticy, vintagey looking, that would help create the more shipwrecked idea. So I pulled out a couple of these journal cards, took the cute sentiment off, the one with the anchor on. I thought a map piece would look nice as well, and some of this driftwood that I'm going to use on the built-in pocket that's in my journal. I pulled out some stamps as well to use because I have quite a lot of like ship and sea and nautical themed stamps. This first one I'm going to use is from Prima. It is a beautiful stamp. It's got like this beautiful sailing ship and florals and everything. Unfortunately, it's not a very good stamp. I have never got this one to stamp well, even when using like the proper stamping press. It just, so it's more, you only just kind of get a little hint of the stamping, but maybe you can say it kind of works because that can be the original ship sailing and now it's all faded because now it's wrecked. I don't know, you can make it poetic if you wanted to. This one of the actual shipwreck is, I think it's Hunky Dory stamps. Again, not 100% sure. I'm using Stays On Timber Brown for the 2 ship stamps and then black for these other things. These next stamps I'm using, I will not recommend these. They're woodware stamps. Every set of woodware stamps I have been disappointed in. I do not recommend them at all. I'm sorry if that annoys anybody, but I've always had problems with them. They're beautiful, they look great, but they never, ever stamp very well. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, end of stamp rant. I'm going to distress all those little pieces I've cut out to use, either tearing them or using a distress tool. Going around the edges, again, I can't remember. I think it's ground espresso rather than walnut, but no, I'm sure it's ground espresso. And you can see with that one, I'm like screwing it up so it's all creased and torn, ripping around the shipwreck stamp. Words, they are hard sometimes. Doing what I sometimes call fussy ripping. It's like the equivalent of fussy cutting, but ripping, because I've had people comment like, how did you rip so precisely? Put your thumb in the way. Like if you don't want that bit of the paper to be ripped, put your thumb in the way and rip around it. Like it kind of serves as a counterweight against the ripping. That's kind of all I do. In my stash, I found this netting, which I thought would look really, really nice. I just stapled it onto those cards because I thought if we start thinking about using, you know, gel mediums and complicated glues, this is just going to be too much. So I simply stapled them on to create this little cluster with the shipwreck and everything. And then I also glued on some little scraps of burlap because why not? I felt like the whole thing was looking a bit empty at this stage and needed a bit more, I don't know, stuff going on. So to these pages, again, I'm going to add some poetry. The obvious one for this was Coleridge's Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Again, it's a long poem, so I'm just doing an excerpt from it. I'm writing on my own handmade paper that I sell in my Etsy shop, but also using the leftovers of what was left on my ink dauber to just make it look a bit more aged and old and things, and using a brown Stabilo fine liner to write out the excerpt of the poem that I chose. It's the famous bit of Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's the albatross bit. If anyone did, you know, this at university or school or whatever, it's like everyone studies this little section of it. That, or you know it from the Iron Maiden song, alternatively. And there's a little snippet of the back of my head. It is not a Ms. Paperlover video without you getting a little glimpse of my frizzy red hair. But I forgot what I was saying now. So those are written out. I'm going to put them in this pre-made pocket. Decided to staple them together, make it a little bit sturdier. And then I just finished off adding a little more Distress Oxide. Again, I think, yeah, it's the ground espresso colour. The background paper, again, that's one of my handmade papers. Just, it needed a little bit something else going on. So that's it for Shipwrecked. The next one is going to be Vintage Halloween. Now, this was the prompts that I originally wanted for my official video, but Meg Journals got there first. I'm joking, by the way. Don't take me seriously at all. I love Meg. I think she's wonderful. And she made a beautiful spread for Vintage Halloween. Anyway, kidding, whatever. That pack I was going through is an ephemera pack I've had for I don't even know how long. from October Afternoon, which I don't think that brand even exists anymore, but it had some nice vintagey Halloweeny bits. I was also going through one of my many junk drawers there to pick out some other things to use. There was that candy stripe bag, but it's the black and white stripes that are, you know, kind of Halloweeny, and I found that glassine lined paper, and also this old book page, which is from an anatomy book, so spooky skeletons and such. Now, before anyone says, Grace, in your last video you said you didn't like cutesy Halloween with orange and green and purple, and you're using orange now. Well, yes, I don't like the colour combo of orange, green and purple to create cutesy Halloween. Orange on its own, fine. Actually, I still struggle with it a little bit. My orange distress oxides are the ones that get used the absolute least, I guarantee it. But I'm making a little simple collage on there, and then I wanted to have something as well in that pocket, so you know, when you see one side of the pocket you see the shipwreck side, and when you see this side it's going to match the Halloween spread as well. So for that I pulled out one of these Prima marketing journaling cards, which again I have had for a while. They're like these chalkboard effect ones, and I thought they would be great for a Halloween vibe, so I decided to back one of those with some of that paper bag. I'm really struggling with words today. I don't know what that's about. I kept getting bits of glue on that journal card with the chalkboard effect, and it really stood out. Like those sticky marks really stood out. But I discovered if you simply wet it a little bit and then rub it off, I was just using my hoodie sleeve, it actually works fine to get rid of those sticky marks. I was freaking out at first because they can be really hard to get rid of sticky marks like that. But yeah, just a little bit of wet and rubbing it off with my sleeve, and it came off nicely. Maybe it wouldn't have done if I had time to dry. But anyway, just if you have anything like that and you get the sticky marks that are annoying and obvious, just try that, see if that works. Going through, this is my little box of Tim Holtz Halloween things. I love my little cigar box of Tim Holtz Halloween things. It brings me lots and lots of joy. The washi tape I've put around the edge there is, I think I bought it from Gretel Creates, but quite a while ago, so I don't know if they will still have it. A simple thing on the back here with the October card and the little owl and pumpkin. I was just testing here to see if the white gel pen would work for writing something on here, but it was okay but not great, so I went for the Posca paint pen instead. And I found this quote that says, "Some people are born for Halloween and others are just counting the days until Christmas." And I just thought that was great, because I am definitely the former kind of person. I am the born for Halloween. I am definitely not counting the days until Christmas. And when I say stuff like this, people are like, "Oh, I love Christmas. How could you say such a thing?" I'm allowed, because I am a December baby. My birthday's in the middle of December, and when I was growing up, my birthday was always overshadowed by Christmas. So Halloween is superior in my mind simply for that reason, because I'm not so bothered by it now that I am technically a grown-up. But when you're a kid growing up and like no one can come to your party because there's a Christmas thing going on, it can be quite upsetting. So I'm going to shut up. There's no need to delve too deeply into my psyche. I put a little acetate back on that journal card as well, and some little doodles to fill it up. And then I have this beautiful vintage glassine paper with lines on, and I'm writing out on here. It is an excerpt from Ray Bradbury's Autumn People, I believe. I won't read the whole thing out because it's a bit too long. If you really want, you could probably like pause and screenshot and zoom in if you really want to read it. But after cutting it down to size a little bit, I'm going to tip it into this page. When I do delicate tip-ins like this, I will often use double-sided tape underneath the washi tape just to make sure it's going to stay in the long term. And I know some of you are thinking, why are you covering that up? Like, it's fine as it is. It's just, I know it is, but I'm a maximalist journaler. I have to do all the things. Plus, you can turn it and still see what's underneath, so it's fine. Cute little skull washi as well to tip that in. And then I simply just needed to add something on the other side of the pocket that's already in the journal. I think the vellum there is one of the Tim Holtz vellum things, but I had to have something on top of it. I just, again, maximalist journaler, I have to add all of the things. So again, Tim Holtz Halloween ephemera, I believe, and then I'm just going to pop that little journal card in there, and I think that's going to be it for those pages and for this little journal with me. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you are taking part of the challenge, or if you're doing anything like I do, just picking and choosing from the prompts, or would you have chosen completely different prompts to me? I would love to know. But other than that, thank you again for watching. Please leave me a thumbs up, subscribe. Again, words are hard today. Subscribe if you haven't already. Relevant links will be in the description box where available. And that's gonna be it from me. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.